Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation on livehiphopdaily.tv, and this episode is sponsored by Cannabis Clothing. Our drug lord, Cannabis, and Return to Viper lines are all available for purchase right now. So stop by and shop at cannabisclothing.com today. I'm blessed to have somebody I actually consider a friend of mine on the show today. And I thought about how long I've known you when I was reading the text message today, and you joked about me working out. And I was like, damn, I've actually known Joe now for going on 5-6 years now. You know, since like a long time in cannabis years.
Couple first cannabis events here in Atlanta.
Yeah, for real. First events, man. Before I started rambling on, let me introduce my guest tonight, my man Joe Sloan. He is the founder of the Georgia Hemp Company. He does amazing things in this community. He's a super supporter of all things cannabis and hemp related out here in the city. And I'd like to thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, man, I appreciate every time we get to spend time together. So thank you.
Thanks, man. You know, you're definitely one of my faves, man. And it has been that way since 2016. And I'm gonna give y'all some background history here. Cash Color Cannabis, this type of format actually started off as a live forum. You know, we had 4 people come out and speak, and we used to do it at Omen Agency. And my first one was amazing. I loved the turnout. It was great. Everybody kept asking me, "You gonna do another one?" So I did a second one, and around that time we had an interview done by Creative Loafing. And our RSVP went from 20 people to almost 200 overnight.
Yeah.
And I remember getting a call from Joe Salome. I remember getting a call from you. I was like, okay, that's cool. People getting phone numbers and all that. But he was calling me because at the time he was with a different company. It was called Halcyon.
Yeah.
And he was interested in having Halcyon be a vendor. All these are very new terms to me at this time because even now they wasn't doing pop-ups. This is 2016. Like he was like, you want to be a vendor. I'm like, a vendor for what? I thought about it for a minute. But you came through, and that night was amazing. So I still remember people using your pens, using those pens that night. And people was just walking around vaping CBD, and I was like, Jesus, what the world are we about to walk into?
You know, this is back when vaping was still starting to become a hot thing, right?
Yeah.
Cartridges were starting to become a hot thing. And one thing that we did is we created branded batteries in the underground market and really got that out there with the users and helped build our brand at the time. And events like yours really certainly helped us do that. We were out there, we were setting up our table. You allowed us to be a vendor, right? And really kind of started a new trend in the market here in Atlanta.
Bro, it's crazy, man. Yeah, we go back that far, man. And speaking of your history here, you did start off with a different company because some people actually will Google and probably find that out. Speak to us about the start of how you started out with Halcyon and what I guess was and I know the story, but what happened with that?
You know, childhood friendship. We became adults, and we, guy I first got high with in high school. Going all the way back to the guy I bought most of my weed from. A really good friend in church, and we started a cannabis company. We focused on patients here in Georgia. We went down to Capitol, and we helped change the laws, allow changing, hopefully getting medical cannabis available to 16 conditions here in Georgia. We grew a great business, multi-million-dollar company, serving thousands of patients here in Georgia, but we saw differences eye to eye when it came to the business and where it was going in the future. So we decided to part ways in the end of 2017, October. We just passed that anniversary, and I started 2 new companies, the Georgia Hemp Company and Simply Wellness, and we just kind of were off and running at that point. I had the blueprint. The blueprint was already done.
Basically, and what I love is you was already becoming a staple now. You know, now I look at it from the perspective now, you was already becoming a staple. So even if it wasn't Halcyon, you still could have been able to do something.
It was going to happen regardless. People want to put their flags down and say they're the first to do this, the first to do that. None of us were the first. We're all on the shoulders of giants before us, right? But if you want to check the press release in 2013, I mean, there's definitely, if we want to start planting flags, you can go and check it.
Hey, you know what? And I thought about this literally today as much as you as much as like you say, people plant flags quickly. This was first, that was first. I distinctly remember a lot of firsts. Like I even remember the first pop-up that I was invited to. Me and my man Brian, Dazed Arts, we got invited to a pop-up that Ben Familiar was doing. And when he explained us the whole situation, we thought, wow, that sounds like we about to all get arrested.
Right, 100%.
And he told us that he said he was already doing them. This was 2016. He was already doing them, and I'm like, bro, you are wilding.
Now look at Instagram and the flyers.
Now they got tickets.
Oh, they got tickets to the events. You got pounds flying from all over the country.
Bro, it later to change into a whole different space in the span of 6 years.
Oh, it's great. It's cool to see. Now again, we're not engaged in those environments any longer.
Yeah, no.
But we all start somewhere, right? I think that's a great question. Hey, how'd you get in the industry?
Yeah.
How do you think?
Yeah. So we're here to talk about Georgia Hemp Company though, because you're moving into new ground and everything like that, man. But for those who know, speak to us about how Georgia Hemp Company, because you really have become a staple in this state when it comes to hemp and CBD. Like, speak to us about what made you step into that lane as far as having your own.
Right. So learning from the last company, everyone wants shelf space. So as a brand, you're trying to get into everyone's shelf space or website. And so what we decided to do is create two brands at this point. The Georgia Hemp Company was going to be our distribution and lifestyle company. That was going to help us get onto shelves. And Simply Wellness was our endocannabinoid fortification line. So that was the brand that was really going to go nationwide and be more of a weed or cannabis brand, if you will. Georgia Hemp Company, again, can cross over different industries. It's not just hemp, it's not just CBD, but it can be hemp, it can be industrial, it can be clothing. And so as this industry grows here in America, we're going to continue getting into those facets as well. We're not just stuck in one thing, but we're building our brand through one avenue, and it's going to, as the industry grows, we'll grow with it. So you're going to start seeing us offering hemp clothing, hemp-made koozies. We're starting to get a lot of other things that aren't just cannabinoid related.
That's, bro, congratulations to you for that, man. What would you say the secret of your success is when it comes to, having this type of longevity?
You gotta have some balls, man. You gotta have some, a lot of people plan. A lot of people say they want to be perfectionists, but perfectionists are scaredy cats. You gotta jump. You gotta jump off the bridge. You gotta build the ship and see if it sails.
I agree with you 100%.
So I think that's really what it is. My dad, he kind of gave me the confidence to just try things.
Yeah.
And if you try things, you either fail or you don't, but you at least see what happens and you can adjust to that.
And I agree with you. Not saying, definitely try to prepare as much as you can, but at some point you're gonna have to jump off the pod.
You have to. You have to.
You'll have people like, I'm a type of person like that. Like I'll create, and you're not moving. You know what I mean? Like at some point you just gotta rip the Band-Aid off and just do something.
And asking your circle of friends isn't always the best thing to do, because they're always gonna need to give feedback, right? Maybe they're always gonna tell you the truth. You gotta get outside your circle sometimes and hey, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely.
What do you think?
Absolutely.
Different perspectives. So again, I think that's important.
Yeah, man. So you are one of the many businesses who are trending upward in the right direction right before COVID hit.
Yeah, I just signed 2 leases on retail.
That's what I was thinking. I was already feeling like you was moving in the space where you was going to have 2 new stores. Speak to us about how you worked through COVID and how COVID actually affected the growth of the business.
It was interesting. I do buy a lot of stuff from China already, so about a month before it happened, I kind of had some hearsay of what was going to happen in about a month or 2. My manager Ashley that I brought here tonight, we started kind of planning. We started buying acrylic shields, we started buying masks, and having a child in school, we kind of also predicted that school was going to be pulled, right? So we kind of knew about a week ahead of time what was going to happen. So we prepared. Came back from a conference in New York in January. We changed up our website a little bit to offer pickups. I mean, how easy is that, right? So pickup, delivery options started happening, but once the COVID happened, we shut our doors, but we put a table outside, so we still were open. We still allowed, we were still communicating. So we doubled down on content. We started creating more content. Katie's here as well. Started doing yoga content. We started doing recycling content. What can you do with our jars? We started doing all this content every day to deliver something to the people that are out there. Because really, the first 2 months, we were all kind of like, what the hell, right?
Everybody was. You didn't know where you could go, what actually
Nothing.
was going to happen.
But we were open. We were pounding the content. We were available for orders. We were shipping. I was taking 2 big boxes of orders out every day. And again, my background is marketing. And so you have tactics that you do to either increase sales or number of sales or transactions or per trade, all these different things, right? So we started doing promotions, $5 joints in April. Celebrate 420. What a better way to celebrate with $5 joints. Started crushing it there. All these different things started happening. And another thing happened was kind of like Delta 8 or hemp flower. Different things started happening that are almost gifts in your basket that you can take advantage of. So new products. We started just rolling out even new products. The PPP stuff was actually a benefit for us.
Were people asking more about CBD and hemp products leading up to that time? Because now we're talking about how people can safely do a lot of can improve their health. Excuse me, help people.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think during the time of COVID, where anxiety was high.
Yeah.
Where people were not wanting to drink as much, perhaps. Health was definitely a concern. Sleeping. All these issues were starting to pop up. There were already something CBD could deal with that we were talking to folks with, but the COVID and the pandemic certainly exacerbated that and drove more people to us. Again, we were blogging, we were vlogging, we were putting content out there to be driving and staying relevant during that time period. Some companies just shut down completely. We wanted to make sure we handled the the pandemic accordingly, safely, but also make sure we were there for our clients.
Yeah. What was the hardest part about maintaining the business during this time?
Oh man, family, I think, and trying to stay sane. When people are locked up at home and for good reason initially, and you are leaving, it's trying to keep your family cool, but also your staff and their family cool, right? The understanding that we're going out into the world that everyone's saying is very scary. So it's actually past the work world, right? It's actually past the dealing with your employees and your customers. It was a little bit more mental, a little bit more psychological and personal.
Yeah, it's crazy though, but you was running at this moment an essential business.
And what we did is we did a press release. And so we followed suit. We did a press release saying we are an essential business, just in case anyone was questioning it. You know what I mean? So again, marketing background, making sure we're messaging and communicating to the public and the authorities that here's what we're doing and why we're here.
So it's great that you have the Sandy Springs store. I've been there a couple of times. We actually did a podcast there during our Super Bowl, man. Shout out to that was crazy that we did that. But now you're about to move into another space, man. Talk to us about the space you're about to move into in Decatur.
So Decatur, we're open. Grand openings this weekend. It's 3 or 4 times the size as our Sandy Springs location. We've got a really cool retail location. We're in a traditional A location that I would call it for retail. We've got a really cool flower bar, our consultation bar, a nice wall to display all of our products. I mean, we're just stepping it up to the next level.
That's great. So clearly, I was going to say what makes it different than the Sandy Springs one, but I'm pretty sure a bunch of it has to do with the space in which
it's the aesthetics. Absolutely, it's the aesthetics. It's the look. It's the feel. The graphics on the wall versus a poster. I mean, we've got real graphics on the wall now that are educational. That just they look like they're supposed to be, right? All these things that are just next level. And so next we got Woodstock. We're looking at Woodstock to open another location. It's gonna be our 3rd, and we'll start looking for a 4th and 5th location as well.
Yeah, that was my next question about where do you see actually the growth of it? Because I know you do have Decatur, you have Sandy Springs and Woodstock. Are they going to see possibly like a Savannah?
We're going to definitely tackle the Atlanta metro. Gwinnett, Camp Creek, Powder Springs, those areas first. Tackle this area and then start looking at maybe the McDonoughs, the Noonans, the Savannah, stuff like that. Now, again, with the state growing the way it is with hemp, we do have more partners throughout the state. Pretoria Fields in Savannah, SCA Farms down in South Georgia. That we're now able to extend our arms and have partners and start to grow a little bit easier than it was 5 years ago.
Man, bro, the growth is so crazy to see. You know what I mean? Because again, all this could have fell to the wayside. It's not like we haven't seen. Even when I think back to the first event I did, the second one we did, there's not a single person on that stage who is still even in the space. So to know that you're still moving in this space and that you're actually still growing is amazing.
You have to stay relevant.
Yeah.
There's a book I read my first corporate career, and it's always relevant. Who Moved My Cheese? It's about two.
Actually, I've never read it. It's sitting on my bookshelf.
Oh, you have it though. Someone gave it to you, right?
Gift.
And usually you get it when you're 20s, when shit happens, changes in life, and you're hard to struggle, and it's hard to deal with it. Bottom line is change happens. It's inevitable. So that's one of the most important things I ever read. Just if you can't stay up and adapt, if you're not willing to, if you don't have that mindset, then your cheese is gonna get lost and you're fucked. You're gonna be hungry.
Speaking of adapting, have you ever thought about the franchise model?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my background is with Moe's Selfless Grill. I managed about 80 different franchises across the Northeast and the Midwest. And what I learned from entrepreneurs is they really like to make their own rules, especially early on in the industry. So as we did approach that idea, most individuals I talked to really wanted to have their own business. They really wanted to manipulate a lot of what I was doing. And in a franchise, that's not how it works, right?
No,
you follow the book, right?
Yeah,
and so that's what we kind of stayed away from that. We decided to stay self-funded. We own all equity in our company, and we're gonna ride this out and see how it rolls.
Do you feel like franchising is even a good viable revenue stream? Like I see people franchise things, and I'm like you mentioned, the fact that you got to follow such strict guidelines leaves like so much.
If the business model's good, yeah. I mean, Moe's, those guys are making $1 million+ a store, right? So your revenue stream's pretty damn good after 4 or 5 years from a positive standpoint. So yeah, franchises can be, but how relevant is your industry? How much more competition comes into it? And what does the long-term of that industry look like? TCBY, yogurt, right? That was an up and down kind of thing. Hispanic food, fast casual, Tex-Mex, that's something that's probably going to last a little bit longer than frozen. So again, industry, business model, and then what those financial projections look like for a potential investor to invest in.
You know, going into last year, on the politics side, we were definitely on the national radar. Actually, it was on the global radar. As for what Georgia is going to do and how Georgia can actually move the Senate and actually how Georgia can move the presidency. Now that we do have a different president, now we do have a more liberal Congress. It's looking like, and most people are hinting that we might see legalization come down the pipe.
My stocks are good today, sir. I don't know about you. My cannabis stocks are damn good.
Look, it looks like most people are hinting that legalization could be around the corner. Have you thought about anything like that as far as like watching what happened in Georgia, watching that we have 2 new senators, watching that, you know, listening to rumblings that's going on? Have you felt like that could be a turn that could really get some movement towards legalization?
Yeah, I think we're going to see it within the next 2-3 years federally. You may see it descheduled from 1 to 2 so they can have more regulations around it, but what that does, it makes it people like you and me not be able to touch it, a little bit easier for bigger companies to do research, banks to take money into investment, stuff like that.
It's that, but I'm more interested in seeing them, one, decriminalize, and 2, figure out a banking system.
Love to see it decriminalized, love to see the banking, love to see people out of jail that have been in trouble for it. Yeah, it's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of systematic changes that need to happen, and it's going to hurt our country and these jails, but it needs to happen. It's going to hurt police departments, but who cares, right? This needs to happen. This cannot continue to happen. So yeah, I think it's a great thing. I think, you know, Georgia, trying to have cousins in Illinois calling me, hey man, great job down there. Where you go? So yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see big stuff happen, and my financial advisor is loving my recommendations all the way to put them on.
You know, I was thinking of the last week or so how your business might move now that I heard about the USDA's ruling on hemp, that they're making their final ruling on hemp. We're going to have a lot more understanding when it comes to licensing, requirements down, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be a lot clearer.
Regulations.
Yeah, a lot clearer path for you. How do you feel about that? Hearing about the USDA's new final ruling.
Regulations make everything easier to operate. We've been operating without any guidelines, right? We're trying to operate in the best business sense, or how other industries or how other things are operating. So again, at the end of the day, there's just 0 regulations in the state of Georgia. You know, Florida has them, New York has them. These states have them from a manufacturer or any of these kind of standpoints. We don't. And so yeah, look, every industry needs some sort of guidelines, whether it's just straight up, you know, like Oregon, where you can, you know, say I'd rather go get rehab instead of go to jail, you know, things like that. But I think there needs to be, you know, options.
Congratulations on that. You know, I watched Netflix has a special called Crack, and I was watching that last night, and I thought about the Oregon situation, and you know, I was like, man, you know how different laws are right this second, and definitely how different they take what you call substance abuse. Like how we looking at opioid abuse versus how we looked at what they call the crack era and who was affecting it. Widely differently how they handled that. Wildly different. When I finished that movie and I thought to myself, Oregon, that's wild, man. So rather than just put people in jail, you said let's get rehab now.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Right.
That's what's up.
Or even to say
not 40 years. Pills. Not 40 years in jail. Like that's not happening for 5 grams. Not 40 years in jail. It's ridiculous, man. Hopefully we see some legalization and we get more regulation of what's going on in the cannabis space as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because right now it's still kind of cowboy land out here.
Way cowboy.
Yeah, and when I was reading about the USDA, I was thinking again about you and a couple other companies about how this will be way easier for y'all. Again, when you say with the regulation, you finally get some kind of clarity that's going to be blanket across the board.
Well, I think you'll see brands that are doing things correctly and businesses that know what they're doing financially and operationally stand out. You know what I mean? A lot of people can get away with funneling money into businesses right now. A lot of people can get away with operating haphazardly because everyone's doing well. But the reality is, I think when things start to shuffle out in the next few years, you're going to see some companies making, some companies not, just straight up.
How do you feel watching and seeing grow here in the city? And when I say that, I mean seeing other stores similar to yours. Like we're seeing more and more people jump into this.
I think it's great. I'm surprised there's not more, honestly, I guess. Yeah. You know, especially when I think back, you know, to 2017 when my first everything crashed, and there was an opportunity window of so many people to take advantage of, and nobody did. Nobody took advantage of one large company falling off the top. Nobody fucking took advantage of that.
You know, people still weren't taking serious what the cannabis industry was. Even at that moment, I'm still trying to figure out if that was a real thing. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's happening, but how are people going to adapt?
You're 100% right. And I think without companies like ours, dude, I spend 10 grand a month on marketing and advertising. Without companies doing that, showing their face and being on shows like this, or being at Sweetwater 420 Fest, or being at this festival or that, without that happening, it doesn't look real. Without me opening up 3 more stores, my friends didn't think it was real, right? What are you doing? You just playing around with that shit? Guess what? No. 3 stores later, don't look like it anymore. I got red velvet cake.
Talk to me, baby.
I got heart-shaped candies, red velvet cake, and brownies this weekend.
You know, it's crazy because you are a crazy marketer, man. Marketing through even your business, hemp, CBD, is hard as hell to do on social media.
I've been shut down on every platform from an advertising standpoint where I could pay.
Have you tried Clubhouse?
Not yet.
I've tried. Actually, I
need that invite.
Clubhouse is. Actually, I got like 8. I got you, man. I think Clubhouse is probably the closest thing you're gonna have. I mean, it's still in beta process, so they might filter that out as they go larger.
Maybe. But like
right now, that's probably the safest place for cannabis influencers, brands to come out, promote, speak, connect to their fans or build out a fan.
Because the algorithms can push your content down so far.
Oh yeah. You know, and I get aggravated by that because you know they'll roll out how you could definitely, I guess, improve your traction. Man, I ain't got time for this no more.
I'm trying to run a business. I'm trying to run a brand, like a normal, you know. So.
And they definitely will take your advertising dollars. Like I've been froze out from Facebook. I was froze out from Facebook with something I didn't even do. You know, like it was a guest on the show. Like it wasn't even my thing. And they froze me out of it. I can't even pay you money to advertise.
I can't even pay them anymore.
So how do you actually market? Like I know you're definitely out and about in the streets. I mean, you definitely, like you mentioned, Sweetwater Fest and things like that. But what's the primary ways that you market?
Traditional marketing. My background is local store marketing with retail establishments. So it's getting in the community, diving in, working with local groups, housing developments, apartment complexes, all the businesses, digging into the community, just acting like a local business in the community. So that's number one. Second, you know, in what I call is the five walls, 5 blocks, 5 miles. And so you just tackle each one of those things as you get out, and the further you get out, the bigger the media gets, the more engagement. But again, it's a constant content education thing when it comes to our industry, I think, right now. So again, I do play a lot in radio. We're starting to be able to do a little bit more in digital media. It's starting to open up a little bit more. You know, you're doing a lot of email marketing.
I remember when y'all had Reese down at the store. Reese.
I know Reese from back in my 790 days. We used to do a lot of stuff with Converse and all of the local basketball courts throughout the community. So he'd bring him and his dad would bring their organization out, bring the basketball stuff to Converse and the radio station, and you know, just dig into the community. I mean, and that's the core of what a business is at the end of the day. Look at Coke, as big as they are, they're on every single baseball, basketball, football scoreboard in the community.
Sure.
And again, that's again the mentality we want to have is be part of your lifestyle, whether it's hemp, food, or health and wellness.
You are very visible in the community when it comes to actually helping out other brands. And I'll give you an example. My good friend Stacy with a table for 20. When she came over here and spoke about how she just kind of reached out to you, and you was open to working with her with her new what she was doing with the website. I thought that was super dope. What makes you so open when it comes to helping and assisting other people outside of Georgia Hemp Company?
I mean, it's twofold. I do want to get paid for my consulting. So, I'll get twisted. But that being said as well, if someone's got the drive, the know-how, and the willingness to do something, I'll help them. But if you're coming to me and saying, I got an idea, and you're thinking I'm going to do everything, that's going to be different.
Bro, I hate that too, man.
Right?
Like, I can't stand that. That's why I stopped reading DMs at this moment. Like you can no longer DM me with specifically what I need to do.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's what I need to do. You'll really frame it as this is what I need to do.
You come to me with a deck ready to go, pitch, and ready to rock and roll if we're going to deal together. Because I got shit to do.
Yeah.
I got a kid at home, I got a house, I got all these things, plus this and these guys over here. So at the end of the day, you better be ready to rock and roll and come ready to go.
Do you see yourself as a influential figure in the state?
I don't personally, but they tell me I am.
You've contributed a lot, man. Like I say, from the very beginning, you really are somebody who's been a face. Whether I be on the underground scene or I'm up here, like somebody will know who Joe Salome is. Like you know what I mean? Like you just definitely that person.
Well, I'm an only child.
Yeah.
I want to be cool. And so at the end of the day, like I said, my dad's always supported me when it came to stuff in school. And he used to buy me bubble gum to sell, or buy me slap bracelets to sell in school. So I always find cool shit to sell, and that was my connection to people. And here we are.
Well, you say like I feel like you work a whole lot, man. What do you do in the free time? Like, have you watched WandaVision yet? Like, have you got into
Yeah, I mean, my daughter, she's 6. We're starting to watch that a little bit. Yeah, trying to understand that.
WandaVision, understand it. Go to Cosmic Wonder on YouTube. Like seriously,
right.
I'm knee deep in WandaVision.
All right.
Like, bro, I'm so ready for the next episode on Friday. I'm ready to stay up till 4 a.m.
Yeah, my daughter's loving it. Yeah.
I love it, man. What else you do? Like when you're not doing Georgia Hemp?
Oh man, it is a lot in that, but I'm trying to do some yoga more. Trying to, like yourself, focus on the body now that we're in the 40s.
Yeah.
Take it to the next level. Be like Tom Brady.
Yeah. Be like Mecca.
Be like Mecca. We're gonna be rebuilding the house. My house got hit by a tree last year.
Yo,
so
bro, I saw that, man. How did I forget about that? Yeah, your house got hit by a tree.
I'm always trying to learn new shit. So this show made me learn how to build a home for the builders. We had a 150-year-old oak tree hit our house. Yeah, I mean, lucky we're alive.
Yeah.
But I get to learn how to build a home this year. So I'm learning stuff. I'm a big learner. I like smoking lots of weed. I like to travel. I like going to New York. Going to Vegas. I go out to New York. I go to the beach.
Speaking about smoking weed, are you ever fearful that you actually speaking about your love of cannabis would affect the business itself in Georgia Hemp?
Say that one more time.
Do you ever think that, just you speaking about, I like smoking weed?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm careful to talk about that stuff around my employees, for sure. I look at pictures back from college and stuff like that where I'm like double smoking blunts and stuff. Again, you got even like young kids that are at concerts that are doing drugs, you almost like, are you okay, man? Let me take care of you. But I was there. I was tripping on Molly like that one time too, and needed water. And hopefully someone. But so you gotta be careful a little bit. I just want to be a good role model.
Bro, lucky social media was not around.
Oh my God.
For those moments, man. I think about all the time about should I clean up my Instagram over Twitter, and I'm like, nah, you gotta take and leave this shit.
Right. Sometimes my managers, they're in their 20s and they'll post stuff on social, promote the company, like smoking joints and doing this. I'm like, are you sure you don't put that on there? Like, is that cool? Because back in the day when employers are looking.
Yeah.
Someone's looking, mom's looking, aunts are looking, everyone's looking. I don't know for sure, but
bro, you don't want to be on LinkedIn with a blunt in your mouth.
Right?
Because they definitely.
But at the same time, if you're the only dude with a blunt in their mouth, you're probably getting hit up quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
There's 2 ways to look at it, right?
You're silly, man. Bro, okay, so the store is, you're having a grand opening on Friday.
Yeah, so grand opening this weekend in Decatur, 1524 Church Street. In between Moe's and Pizza Hut. We're going to have DJs all weekend, live music, 25% off the whole store. The red velvet cake, we got brownies from a local baker here in Atlanta. I can't tell you which one. They've been around about 30 years. They're delicious. Heart-shaped gummies. So we're trying to really dive into the Valentine's Singles Day weekend with our grand opening. Yeah.
Do you think we're ever gonna? You mentioned there's so many things that you're gonna branch out into, from the clothing to koozies. There's a lot of ways you can jump into with hemp. Have you ever actually thought about branching out and doing anything in the THC realm?
Yeah, so really that's what Simply Flawless is about. That's what's going to allow us to cross over, and I say endocannabinoid fortification company. This is Delta 8 that we're selling now, right? Derived from hemp. We've already crossed over into the THC world. These gummies, you're not going to know the difference. The 1-to-1 oil, Delta 8 to THC. Delta 8 is going to work on your CB2 receptors, more of your peripheral. So again, it's not going to get you really buzzy, heady high, more of your body high. It's about 60% compared to what a normal high is.
Yeah, I had a Delta 8 gummy, and it show gave me that nice little warm feeling real quick. I thought I was high for a second.
You do. Yeah. I like taking a couple before bed, but we're already working in that world. Again, going back to my previous experience, that 1-to-1 ratio oil is probably something I've sold more than 5,000 bottles of. With or without.
Is that the most popular thing right now?
No, but as we educate more, we're going to see more people leaning towards that. Right now, the vape cartridges for the Delta 8 and the gummies are the most popular. Delta 8, the THC is certainly taken off. There's no doubt.
Brother, you are definitely an inspiration. Because like I say, I had a chance to watch you grow a business, lose a business, start another businesses, now expand out. Like, you're definitely somebody I look at and say, he's a business role model. How to keep moving.
Kennesaw State.
Kennesaw State, man. Shout out to Kennesaw State alum here, man. I appreciate you coming through. I want let people know where they can come, where they can learn more about Georgia Hemp Company. And it's definitely for this Friday where they can stop by and see the grand opening.
TheGeorgiaHempCompany.com is where you can find all of our amazing products. Got probably over 80 different SKUs available. Everything from suppositories to bath bombs. Grand opening this weekend in Decatur, 1524 Church Street, next to Moe's, Walmart, and Pizza Hut. Hey, we're gonna be there all weekend, 25% off. Always love having you come in. Would love to do another podcast. Maybe we'll have to send around some more sports or something, but whatever we got to get you out there. Man.
Yeah, we missed Super Bowl this year, man. I don't know if I didn't go to any party.
I miss being I miss being part of that crowd again. Like we've been there 2 years in a row, and so I really wanted to.
Was you watching the game this year? We just had this conversation.
Yeah, you know, I'm from Vegas, man. It's usually one of those like, where's the bets line? You know, what are the prop bets? You know, first touchdown, who's throwing it, how long is it going to be? Those
prop bet. I wish I would have bet on Leonard Fournette. Oh my God, talking about prop bet. I wish I would have did that. See how he played. Yeah,
what about LaShawn McCoy not playing any downs?
Oh, he didn't. He still got a ring though.
He's still got a ring.
He got two of them. No,
so think about that. Like, was that a bet? Was he even going to play? You know, down? Like things like that.
Shady McCoy was on the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Two Super Bowl rings.
Exactly.
Never played it down.
Who he played for?
Tampa in
He was on Tampa this year.
Yeah.
Wow. I never knew that.
Welcome to his world, man.
Yeah, right?
You talking about free rings, boy. I appreciate you coming out.
Man, thank you for having me.
Hey, we got empanadas over there. We really got cake. I want everybody to come and enjoy the night and hang out with us, man. Come learn more about Georgia Hemp Company from the man himself, Joe Salome.
Thanks, sir.
No problem. Appreciate you, man. And this Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation on livehipHopdaily.tv. All right, we're gonna do a couple pictures and then we're gonna eat.